What's poppin' T Squad? It's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea, All Shade, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 13, Episode 12 review. So on tonight's episode, we start off with Kenya. She has me and Big Booty Cynthia over to her home, and she tells us once we get there that she invited our new cast member, Toya. Her name is Latoya Forever on YouTube. She's a popular YouTuber. I hadn't personally met her until that day, so I was very interested to get to know her because, you know, I do YouTube, she does YouTube, so I really wanted to see with me and her, we're going to mesh. So Kandi in her confessional says, I met Toya a few years ago. She can be a lot to take, and I was like, you weren't lying. So Toya arrives. I loved her outfit. She looked really cute. Loved her braids. Her makeup was on point. So Cynthia in her confessional says, you know, about Kenya, you just met her. You already have her over to your home. Mama can take a while to warm up to. And then they show a montage of all the other newbies and how Kenya has not gotten along with those girls. I think that this season, Kenya came in trying to change, trying to be different. And I think she did an okay job at that. So, Toya, like I said, she looked really cute. She was like, you know, she got a sweating problem. It's hot. You know, it's Atlanta. It's summertime. So she asked Kenya, how is it being with a Trinidadian man? Because they're all crazy. And I was like, if all Trinidadian men are like her crazy ass husband, then I don't never want to date a Trinidadian man. Any women I heard that have dated Trinidadian men, are they all crazy? Let me know. So Kenya says in her confessional, I'm a good judge of character. I really feel like she and I can be friends, talking about her and Toya. And they are going to get very along this season. I think at some point, though, things are going to go awry between them too. So Toya says that she's separated from her husband. They have 3 children, but they still live in the same house with each other, and that her husband served her divorce papers while they were in the same house. Child, the boldness of it all. I would have beat that nigga ass. So Kenya tells them that, you know, she hasn't filed for divorce yet. Cynthia invites Toya over to Lake Bailey, and I was like, you didn't consult me about that. I know we're not in a throuple anymore, but I still feel like I should be consulted on certain things. Like, we don't know this bitch like that to be having her in our house and around my ex. You know what I'm saying? She might try to take my place. I'm not really sure about that. And plus, Toya was really cute to me. I liked her personality, but she seemed like she was doing a little team too much, like she was being a little bit extra for the cameras. I don't really know how I feel about her yet, but so she invites her, like I said, over to Lake Bailey because we're having a wine tasting for our wine cellar. And Toya says that she can't wait to see the river. And Kenya was like, yeah, she gonna get along with Porsha very well because we all know that Cynthia lives by a lake and not a river. So I was like, I don't know if that was shade or was she genuinely dumb. So Porsha mama and Lauren are at home with baby PJ, who looks just like her daddy. But her romper was cute nonetheless. Porsha FaceTimes them and tells them about, you know, the experience of being in jail. She said it stank. The force was hard. But, you know, at the end of the day, she had to remind herself that she gets to go home. You know what I'm saying? Breonna Taylor's mom doesn't get to see her daughter ever again. And she talked about the experience of meeting Breonna Taylor's mom and how everything impacted her. And once again, I will say that I really commend Porsha for stepping up for the cause and to bring justice to the victims of Black Lives Matters and racial profiling and all of that stuff. So me and Cynthia have dinner with the other new castmate, Drew Sidora, who's also very hot. The heat is cooking these bitches. She got a broke leg. We tell you guys how we met her. We met her through Eva, who we love. We also find out that Drew broke her leg while doing a play with me and Cynthia's ex, Leon. Drew has been in Atlanta for a year now. She's by coastal of Los Angeles. Our first impressions of Drew, she gives me very throwback. She gives me very her season of the game with the hairdos, even with the fashion choices. Like she had on a white dress with a Gucci belt, and then she had on some what are those shoes called? Damn it, I can't think of the name of the shoes, but she had on like these black flats. It just the fashions were just not there. The hair was too fat. Yeah. So Cynthia asked her, has she ever met Kenya before? Because, Kenya was an actress. And she was like, no, we were probably in different age brackets. Shady moment, but also a very true moment. So she's married to her husband, Ralph. They do a flashback and we get to meet her family. She has a little baby named Nana who is just beyond cute and funny. Her mom is a pastor by the name of Jeanette. And in the flashback, we see that her and her husband are celebrating their 6-year anniversary, and he brings her flowers and they serve her breakfast in bed. They also have 2 other children, 2 boys. One of her oldest son, Josiah, is by a previous relationship. Her husband is an IT worker. So they got a cute little fam, but by the end of this episode, we see that there is trouble in paradise, child. So they also let us know that they got married 6 months after meeting each other. And I was like, and this is why y'all got the problems that y'all got now, because y'all didn't take the time to get to know each other before y'all jumped the motherfucking broom. So her mama is stuck there because of COVID. Her mother lives in Chicago, and they're having a hard time with having mama there because, they want to get their freak on. And then the mama and her husband be getting into it, child. And with the type of husband she got, I can see why the mother would be cussing his ass the fuck out. So Kandi picks up Mama Joyce, who calls COVID covert 19. They head to Riley's graduation, but because of COVID, each student can only have 2 guests. Kandi isn't really ready for Riley to go away to college, and I know that feeling. When Kyrie's graduated school, it was such an emotional moment for me because it's just like, my baby's not a baby anymore. He's about to go away to college. Well, he ended up going to college here, but he had got offered to go to a HBCU. I really wanted him to go. He didn't, but it was such a big moment for me. So any mom who, especially a single mom, and raised a child, an only child, by theirself for so long, like, your child isn't just your child. It's like your best friend, almost like a sibling to you as well. So I understood exactly where Kandi was coming from with that. So, Porsha is back home. Her baby is having a fit and throwing tantrums and falling all out and shit. And I was like, girl, you better start tapping them legs. So she and Dennis, she say, have to figure out what they're going to do with their relationship because she says their arguments have turned toxic. And I was like, Porsha, bitch, we tried to warn you 2 seasons ago about this big head Ninja Turtle looking ass nigga. You was with this nigga for the coin, and now you getting the coin and the problems, bitch. So deal with it. I'm sick of it and I'm over it. So it's the day of me and Cynthia's wine tasting at our home, Lake Bailey Irvin. So Kenya and Toya arrived together and they both looked really cute. I especially love Toya's outfit. I love that like cute peasant off the shoulder top that she had on, the fitted jeans, the Dior saddlebag. I was like, y'all, give me fashions. Her braid, the dewy skin, everything was working and coagulating. One thing I will say about having these 2 younger girls on the show, it really gave the show a new fresh feel. Tonight's episode felt so fresh. It was so good to see new girls on the show with new storylines, new personalities, new fashions, new friendships. It was so fresh. And this is what this, as well as the other franchises, need. They need fresh new girls that are in their 30s amongst the older girls that have been on the show. Like, I loved tonight's episode. I love the newness of it all. So Mike is there looking creepy, and I was just like, I tried to ignore him, you guys. I tried to, stay away from him. I tried to respect him and Cynthia's upcoming nuptials, but he kept on asking me what's good. Do I miss him? Can he call me later? And I was like, dude, you're being so motherfucking disrespectful. Please do not make me out you in front of everybody. It was so uncomfortable for me. Like, just pray for me, you guys. So as soon as Toya sit down, she gonna have the nerve to ask me and Cynthia, do we got artificial plants on our table? Girl, Cynthia had to hold me back from yanking that bitch by the motherfucking poetic justice braids. So Cynthia, her confessional, and she also talked about our food being cold. And I was like, bitch, you better be happy you getting fed. So Cynthia, her confession say, Toya, I'm gonna need you to slow your roll. I don't know you like that. And I was like, exactly, bitch. And this is why I felt like Toya was doing team too much. Like, what was that question? Like, people ain't got fake plants in their house. Bitch, the fuck, what? Shut up. So Marlo arrives next and she speaks to Kenya. And Cynthia tells them that, they should sit next to each other. And Marlo was like, we know how to act like ladies. Ain't that right, Kenya? And Kenya says, yes, some of us act and some of us are. So Kenya in her confessional says Marlo has really fallen off. I don't think she ever really was on, but I think she's really falling off, like off into the ocean, into a dragnet. And they show us this outfit that Marlo wore to some function, and it was literally a brown fishnet outfit from head to toe. Her titty was out. She looked like she was an extra from Aquaman. I don't know where the fuck she was going. Bitch, everything that's a designer ain't to be worn, bitch. Just let the bitches on the runway wear it, girl. Like, sit down somewhere. So Cynthia tells them that Drew is on the way, and Cynthia makes a dig about Kenya almost ruining her engagement, and Kenya once again feels really bad about everything that happened last season. Riley joins the family at Kandi's house in her Fendi dress and her new Tito Jackson 5 nose. I really hate her nose. It doesn't fit her face. It looks like a botched job. It just don't look right. So Kandi gives her flowers for her graduation, and Ty gives her a stack of money, which makes her very happy. Mama Riley, I'm proud of Mama Riley. Toya asked the girls back at me and Cynthia's house what was Riley's first car, and they tell her it was a Porsche. And she says, my sugar daddy bought me my first car. And Marlo's like, you can teach me how to get a sugar daddy. Bitch, you are the CEO of sugarbabies.com. Like, Marlo, stop it with the foolery. Stop it, girl. Stop it, bitch. You are the head grand dame of poetry. So Toya's like, I met him in a strip club. I was stripping. So they was like, are you serious? Are you serious? I don't know if she was serious or not. I just started being a subscriber to her channel. So let me know, was she a stripper? Was she not? Was she playing? It seemed like she was playing. So she started dancing and stuff, and Mike bring his creepy ass upstairs, looking all around the corner and shit, trying to look at her ass. I was like, see, Cynthia, this is why the fuck I left that nigga. He can't be trusted. So Toya and Kenya bantering back and forth on some like sexual shit. And Toya was like, you want to pull my hair, don't you? And Kenya was like, yeah, bitch, yeah. And I was like, what in the fucking shit is going on here? Like, what in the Cinemax after dark, bitch? So Mike, once again, who gonna let a titty slip? I'll catch it. I'll put it back in. I'm like, ugh, this creepy ass nigga. So Kenya in her confessional says, oh, Cynthia, where did you get all these strays from? Do you visit the local pound? This is after Drew and her husband, Ralph, arrived. And we also found out that Ralph and Mike know each other. So that was shady, calling the new girls strays. Kenya also says, seeing Drew, I'm underwhelmed. I agree. I'm sorry. I agree. You can tell she needs to check from this show. That's all I got to say. So the producer says, but you thought her husband was cute. And Kenya started cackling and laughing. She's like, yeah, he was fine. I was like, see, Kenya, this is what got you in the high seat all the years ago, talking about bitches' husbands is fine and shit. Worry about that Gaither looking ass nigga you over there married to, girl. Keep your eye on that. He ain't even a prize, so I don't even know what to call that trash dump. So Kenya asks Drew what happened to her foot, and she tells them. And then Toya gonna say, I don't care about that right now. I would need some wine. And I was like, damn, you rude bitch. Like, the fuck you mean you don't care about that right now? Once again, she was doing too much. I'm like, Toya, sit down. And this is why I can see why they didn't give her a peach, because she was coming across very inauthentic. She was giving me Marlo vibes, just doing the most for no reason, being rude for no reason. It wasn't genuine shade. It was just like out of nowhere. And it was just like, the fuck? So, Toya then turns to Kenya and says she has a pet on her head. And I'm like, why you talking about this girl hair? Like, her hair wasn't the best hairstyle I've ever seen, but it wasn't the worst either. She just had a natural looking wig on. So Kenya was like, stop it. Like, even Kenya was like, girl, okay, like, you doing the most. So Kenya asked Drew, do they know each other? And she was like, we might, through actors. You want to name some names? And Toya said, this is why I don't like you, Drew. And she was like, huh? What you mean you don't like me? She was like, because you broke up Melody and Derwin, and it was a funny little cute little moment. So then Marlo says to Drew, you're working right now, right? You can get Kenya some new jobs. And I was like, see, this is like the shade for no reason. Like, what the fuck is the point? Drew is uncomfortable. Marlo and Toya are over at the island getting more food. And Marlo says to Toya, don't be telling Kenya all your business, girl. She'll use it against you, bitch. She's good. And I'm like, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Like, You the same bitch. Y'all the same hoe. That's why y'all can't get along. Like, you will use shit against bitches too. Like, Marlo, sit down. So Toya say, don't take advice from her. And Marlo was like, yeah, I don't like how to pronounce words. But she can't keep a man that Jesus paid her to. And I was like, you know what, Marlo? I'm not going to start with you, bitch. Because we both know you can't say a word or spell it for shit. Well, that read on Kenya was funny as fuck. So we all go outside. It's very hot. And I was like, I don't do the heat, but okay, I'll do it for you bitches. So Toya tells Cynthia that she needs an invitation to the wedding. And Cynthia was like, I just met you. Once again, the thirst is real. You're doing too much. So Mike asked Ralph how marriage is going. And Ralph said, you know, in the beginning it was utopia. Now we're getting to the problems and the headaches. And he tells Mike about how, you know, her mom is staying with them and how they've been getting into it and how he left for a couple of days to get away. And Mike tells him, you know, you need to just talk to Drew. So when he said that he escaped for a few days, I was like, fuck you mean you escaped? But I'm going to save my thoughts on that. So they do the wine tasting. I mean, we do the wine tasting. You know, I don't drink. I have my smart water. Cynthia make a dig about Kenya again, about, you know, last season when Kenya was checking her on the wines or whatever. And Kenya was like, okay, girl, all right. So Cynthia got all black owned wine companies. And I really love that. It was my idea, but I'm going to let her have that. So Toya says that she needs to hook Kenya up with someone. And Toya says, you know, you can do what you want when you're separated. And this starts a argument between her and Drew. Drew says, who says that? And Toya says, me. And Drew says, what vows did you take? And Toya said, I'm separated just for a year. I'm going to get my man back. I'm going to get back with my man. And I was like, well, what's the fucking point? You just want to be a hoe for a year? Like, huh? So Drew say, I don't know who says I'm going to be separated for a year. You can't predict how long you're going to be separated, because if you get back together, there might be an issue. Toya says, tell me the definition of a separation. Drew says, it means I need my space to figure out if I still want the marriage or not. But if you want to see other people, just get a divorce. Drew in her confessional says, Toya just not all there. If you think a man gonna wait a whole entire year for your ass, child, somebody need to tell her ass. Drew says, my husband will say we're getting a divorce like last week, he left for 3 days. Now, before I even get to this part, the whole separation conversation, it is okay to see other people while separated. I feel like it's only okay to see people while you're separated is if you're in a long, drawn out divorce. If y'all been married like Angelina and Brad Pitt, they've been going through this divorce now for like 4 years. They are not together. They ain't gonna be back together, but they are still in a legal battle. In cases like that, I can see. But if y'all or getting divorced and it's only been a year or so or for some few months, I don't think that that's appropriate per se, but to each his own, ain't none of my damn business. So Drew brings up her husband leaving for 3 days. And in her confession, she says they got into a huge fight and he went to his office to cool off. When I went to check on him, he was gone and I didn't see him for like 3 days. Let me tell you one thing. If I get into it with my nigga and he go in the other room and a few hours later I go to get him, and that nigga done packed bags and left and did not even tell me, and then I don't hear from him for 3 days, bitch, that nigga would come home to an empty house. I'm taking everything, the kids, the dogs, the furniture, the chandeliers, the toilet tissue, everything, bitch. You got me fucked up. That is some rude, disrespectful ass shit. You don't do no shit like that as an adult fucking grown ass man with a wife and kids. Anything could have fucking happened to her or the kids, and because you mad and you don't want to be bothered right now, you don't want to answer her phone calls. That is the most disrespectful shit when people do that. See you calling and just don't fucking answer the phone because they feeling some type of way or they don't want to be bothered or they ain't in the mood. Bitch, you got me fucked up. You got me all the way fucked up. So Drew says my husband is a runner, and I was like, obviously. So she says when they get into heated arguments, they both scream divorce, which is not healthy. It's not right. You know, if y'all doing that, y'all need to just leave each other the fuck alone because y'all are very much immature. But once again, this goes back to two people that married after 6 months. So me, Cynthia, and Kenya go inside, and Kenya tells us what Toya said about Drew. And Kenya was like, I was like, don't do that. She's a perfectly nice lady. And I was like, okay, Kenya, I see the growth in you. So Kenya tells me and Cynthia that she is going to file for custody and then do a post-nup. And she's going to tell her husband before she does it. So Kenya goes back outside to get Toya and she hugs Drew goodbye. She does not hug Marlo, and Marlo will come over and talk to you know I love my sister no matter what. Kenya was like, get away from me, demon. I was like, exactly. So Kenya weighs herself at home. We see them crusty ass feet. And I was like, why did they show Kenya dry ass hooves? And she weighs 188, which is a lot for her. So Ralph surprises Drew with a romantic dinner for their anniversary. She toasted their 7-year wedding that she wants to have next year when they have their 7-year anniversary. She wants to do a wedding. She says that'll give them something to look forward to. And he looking like, yeah, that's not happening. So Ralph says, now that we're 6 years in, let's talk about things that aren't working. And I was like, why are we having this conversation on our anniversary? This is a conversation that's obviously going to result in an argument. What in the holy hell is going on? I know some people on Twitter was saying that they were acting. We all know Drew is an actress. I don't know if she was acting, but regardless, ain't no way. So Drew says, I feel like transparency isn't a part of our marriage. You feel comfortable leaving and not telling me. I like to see that change. Bitch, that ain't no change, bitch. That's a requirement. So Ralph said, I feel like I'm an outspoken person. Drew says, I don't mean to talk over you. She talks over him, and Ralph says, typically you talk over me, but go ahead. And in that instance, she really did talk over him. So Drew says, you left the other day and I still don't know where you were. Ralph says, you don't understand men and how they work, especially black men. If I leave in the spur of the moment, I need to get away. Staying is worse than leaving. I came from nothing. I'm trying to create a legacy. What the fuck does one have to do with the other? You trying to create a legacy and got shit to do with you upping and leaving your fucking family for 3 days, you fucking coon, and it ain't got shit to do with you being a black man or me not understanding men. Bitch, that's just common motherfucking sense. You don't do no ignorant ass shit like that, because if she did it, it'll be hell to pay. So Drew says, that's why I married you. He was like, no. So they argue back and forth, and Drew says, I knew this was a setup. You still haven't addressed the issue. You didn't take my calls and you didn't text me back, because he still ain't giving her an answer about where the fuck he was at. So he says that he did. Drew was like, where did you go? And he says, I was at the beach. Like, who are you talking to? Like, who are you talking to where you giving these little one-word answers and you beating all around the mulberry bush, nigga? So Drew says, did you leave Georgia? He was like, absolutely. So Drew was like, if you didn't feel the need to tell me where you were, we can daddy right now. And he was like, daddy and what? And he was like, me telling you where I was, what does that solve? What the fuck you mean, what does it solve? It means I'm asking you a question, you need to give me an answer, because you not answering the question leads to me having other thoughts like, okay, well, wherever you was at, were you with another bitch? Like, you know exactly what you're doing. Like, come on, bro. I hate when niggas try to play mind games and shit with people. So Drew says, I should know where my husband is. And he says, she said, we all thought you were downstairs. I got you dinner and I'm banging on the door. How do I not know my husband left the house? And then my mom is hearing and seeing all this. And I was like, I think that's not only was what he did fucked up, but the fact that her mama was there when all this went down. Like, you know how mamas are. You ain't gonna never hear the end of this. You know that the mama don't like him. She tolerates him because of her daughter. The whole thing is just a hot ass mess. So Ralph says, I'm gonna appease you. I was in Tampa. How does it help you? First of all, who are you talking to like I'm a child? So I'm gonna appease you. Bitch, do you need to give me an answer if I ask you a fucking question? So Drew says, you have cameras in the house and you are watching us. He denies it. He says that he doesn't have cameras in the house. Drew says, so you knew where I was, but I didn't know where you were at. That's some old psychopath type shit. Like, what in the hand that rocks the cradle? So Ralph says, if you want to make it another 6 years, then you need to stop these stupid issues that has nothing to do with anything that's going to make us move forward. Like, I hope that they plan, because if this is how her husband is for real, girl, you need to leave this nigga. Like, ain't no motherfucking way, bitch. Girl, this nigga play all day. And the fact that he feels comfortable enough to play in your face and say some shit like that, girl, bye. So he asks her to show him the picture, because she accuses him of taking a picture of her one night from off the camera. She says that they got into it their previous anniversary. She didn't want this anniversary to end up like that. And he hands her his phone and say, look for the picture then. So she goes searching for the picture. She can't find it. And she was like, you deleted it. If you sit here and tell me you weren't watching us, I will get up and leave. Ralph says, I wasn't. Drew takes the last swig of her champagne and says, I'm fine. I'm done. I'm not going to sit here and look stupid. You fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. She goes into their bedroom. She slams the door and she's talking to her mom. And she says, he's embarrassing me. He's acting dumb as hell. Don't fucking lie to me. Don't fucking lie to me. I'm taking my dress off. I'm done. Child, That was a hell of an opener for Miss Drew Sidora. I see why she got the peach. I can't wait to see how things are going to further unfold between her and her husband, because as of right now, her husband is trash and she's a goddamn fool for putting up with him and his foolery. Toya is doing the most. It's like I like her, but then again, I don't like her. I don't know how to feel about her. Let me know how y'all feel about these newbies. I really enjoyed tonight's episode, though. I like this episode better than I like last week's episode, even though last week's episode was very poignant. I do, however, give tonight's episode an A. It was cute. I like the energy of the new girls. I really honestly do. Let me know once again what y'all think about the new girls. What do you think about tonight's episode? What do you think about Toya thinking and saying that when you're separated, you can see other people? How do you feel like Toya's debut was? What do you think about Drew Sidora and her looks and her fashions? What do you think about her marriage? Let's talk down below in the comment section. I love you guys. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I will see you on the next one. Bye.